Hello everyone, and welcome back to the channel. JC here with another video on Masked Taimanin. Today we're gonna check another VR builds, but before we start, don't forget to leave a like, share and subscribe if you enjoy the content. So today's build is going to revolve around the slow strategy. Like, I already have a build for the slow strategy, which is this one, but it is a little bit different. This one is going to use Phantasma instead of Emily because my Emily is already maxed out in the stat training department, so she doesn't need the experience, well, the skill points from the runs. So instead I'm using Phantasma, which performs her role pretty effectively. It is a little bit different. Here I poison Masked Taimanin using Heaviko, and I increase my defense and attack with Ichika, and I increase my defense with Shisui. For Emily uses Phantasma's limited supporter, Undomitable Fumatokiko. Both of these supporters inflict slow onto the enemy, as well as Susune. Yeah, Susune. And Murasaki uses Tentacle Anchor, while Emily uses Ground Shock and Drone Shocker. Ground Shock, Drone Shocker, and Tentacle Anchor are skills that inflict slow, and these two supporters inflict slow. So yeah, basically that's the gist of it. Just to use those. Unfortunately, you don't want to use Emily on the main to automate these runs, because unlike Hisui, who moves whenever she has the basic enhancer, she moves towards the enemy. Emily doesn't do that. Even if you have the weapon that you automatically uses the skills, she won't be good on VR unless you are piloting her. Even just moving the stick would be enough, but you have to be there. That's the problem. So you cannot go with a triple slow unless you do it manually. And I wouldn't recommend Emily to be the character you pilot. Lastly, we have Hisui with an offensive and defensive build at the same time, because she has Akina to recover HP, she has Mido to destroy the human type enemies, and Arabella to increase the damage. And her skills are used so that I can auto farm this and also gain defense. But in the other build that I'm using right now, what do we have here? So Murasaki is very similar to the original build, but let's see what she has. Number one, I don't have a special weapon. In fact, I only have this, which is S level 3. It's not that great. And this one is S level 5. Plus 14, plus 14. I should probably change the position of these weapons, but I'm lazy. I won't. Then I have Water Magatamas, Anti-Human, of course, as you can see. Whatever Magatamas on the sub-weapon. Tentacle Anchor, the most important skill here. Great Axe Senpu, which is the easy HP recovery skill, and Tentacle Mind. Tentacle Mind is just in case. Most of the time you won't activate it. If you want to change this one, it's fine. But I gotta admit, the 75% defense reduction is noticeable. So if I can use it, this is pretty useful. Besides, it pairs well with the speed reduction theme. For supporters, as you can see, I'm not using the poison part here. I move Phantasma so that I inflict that slow over here, and I am using Misaki to increase my damage and heal the party, which is very good. I still have Hisui, she's great. Everyone 5 out of 5 except for Phantasma, she's 4 out of 5. And let's see, for Phantasma, she's going to be using a Bright and a Rose because I'm using this weapon, just because I don't have enough copies of Falling Heart. If I had more copies of Falling Heart, I wouldn't be using the Bright and a Rose strategy. I mean, it's not a bad thing to do, just that you don't take the most advantage out of it its main passive, I mean, Bright and Arrow's passive. So this is 4 out of 5 plus 13, 5 out of 5 plus 13, Wind Magatamas for anti-human, and let's see. As you can see, I'm going blue. I am using Slash Horror, which reduces the defense of the enemy. I am using also Twister Dance, which reduces the speed of the enemy. And also Impaling Terror, which reduces the speed of the enemy. Yeah, so all of her skills reduce speed. Now, the supporters is actually the tricky part, because the thing is, you want HP recovery, but you don't want someone awkward like Akina, because that is for tanks, and you're gonna be a DPS with this character, a supportive DPS. So, as I mentioned, I am using Bright and Arrows to activate the Momochi weapon, but I could change her, just so that you know. I enhanced my Kirara, now she's 5 out of 5, and now she is here because she's the way I'm going to recover HP. She also gives a ton of damage, which is super great, and her active also reduces the speed of the target, which is great. What's the thing? You can change this for who? For Noah Brown, if Noah Brown, if you want. The problem is that you kind of have to use either Kirara, Blackbeard Kirara, or Limited Noah, because you need the HP recovery. Because Phantasma doesn't have other ways of HP recovery. You could use the healing, potions, but that's a consumable item. Maybe you don't have enough, and it's not good to rely on that. I'm also using Arabella, the other, not the other copy. This is the one I'm using, the copy of Arabella. And, there's not many things that we can equip here. Like, if you look, there aren't that many options. Technically, she's suppressed. So, what could you equip? Depending on what you want. Of course, you could equip Sue, which isn't great because you are mostly range, so you're not going to activate the main. But you may get the benefit of increasing more damage to human-type enemies if you have enough copies. You can also equip, Sakuya. Sakuya is a great option if the enemy is dealing a lot of damage to you. But as I mentioned, she's not going to solve the HP recovery problem. And lastly, other than Noah, you could equip Murasaki. As you can see, I almost forgot Hebiko. Hebiko is another great option. And if you have another Mido Haruka, she's also fine, actually. I only have one enhanced. I have the two copies, but one of them is enhanced. I will work on enhancing the other one so that I can use her. She's going to be very good. But as I mentioned, the problem with this build is HP recovery, because Phantasma has HP recovery on red, not on the other colors. So you have to rely on a healer, actives. That's part of the reason why I have Misaki over here, so that I can heal her. I can heal Phantasma. Well, in any case, let's finish with this. I'm using Shisui, as you can see. She's kind of the default if you want to auto-farm VR, because as I mentioned, Emily is not good at that, because she moves whenever there's a mark for the next wave of enemies. If there is no mark for the next wave of enemies, she's going to be locked in place and she's not going to move. You cannot leave the controller, just the character doing its thing. So, well, let's see. For Shisui, I have Guardian Gear type 26 plus 13, 4 out of 5, with anti-human Magatamas. The effect doesn't matter, it's a PvP effect. Then the PvP weapon, 5 out of 5, whatever Magatamas. Power Engage, obviously, because we want to auto-farm. Guardian's Flurry, just to do damage. I mean, it doesn't matter that I don't have the last effect, because it gives critical damage increase, and we're not going to crit on BR. And lastly, we are taking Guardian Touchdown to increase the defense. And, I mean, just increase the defense. It's very helpful when auto-farming. Since I'm not piloting this character, I'm using Mido Haruka to gain that damage reduction from humans. I am also using Fuma Tokiko to give consistency to the strategy. If you don't have Fuma Tokiko, you can go with Arabella. You can go with actually whatever supporter that you want. It's totally fine. Yeah, you cannot move Mido, but whichever supporter is fine, because as I mentioned, you don't have to go pure. You could use another Hisui if you have another copy. You could use, I don't know, Sharia, I think. Sharia, yes. It's another great option. But since I want to abuse the slow, I'm using her. Lastly, I'm using Akina, because without her, Shisui wouldn't be able to recover HP. So it's required. So let's see how this works. I'm not going to touch the controller. I'm going to put it over here. And I gotta admit, it's not bad. It is just a replacement I'm using, since Emily, well, she's already maxed out. She doesn't need the skill points. In fact, she already has, she has reached the max amount of skill points and I cannot spend them. So yeah. Since one more thing, in case you want to use Little Witch Su, I do not recommend that you do. I mean, technically, for a pure slow strategy without the Bride and a Rose, it would be okay. Oh my god, really? The one run where Phantasma gets hit a lot? Like, this never happens. Well, in any case, what's the problem with using Witsu? That we have Phantasma's Nightmare, and we also have the defense reduction from the Momochi weapon and using Bright and a Rose. So that's why you do not want to use Witsu as an extender if you plan to do this manually with a melee attacker. And this is why I said that we need that Kirara. Yeah, Kirara. I almost forgot her name. Yeah. As you can see, I recover half my HP with Phantasma, even though she was about to die. And that's thanks to the fact that she has this HP regen. And also Murasaki using the active. That's also pretty good. Oh my god. Am I on step 61? Like, I normally farm lower steps, just so that you know. Yeah. I'm gonna try that again. Like, I know that right now in particular, this is rough. 61 for this auto team. Like, I do it normally on 40 and sometimes even 51. 41 and 51. Because I know that the AI can do those runs. Like, it is not as proficient as with Emily. Emily can do 60 no problem. But part of it is the supporter selection that I have. Like, with Emily I use Susuni, which gives me a damage increase all the time. With Phantasma I am using the Bride and a Rose strategy. And I gotta admit, Murasaki's a really, really good supporter on green, but she's not the best damage dealer for sure. At least not mine. I mean, she has a weapon level 3, she has a main color skill that doesn't deal damage, and she doesn't use it the most of the time. I mean, she uses this skill, but not all the time. So that's why her damage output is not as great. So yeah. Do I have red? Red. Oh, okay. I don't have damage reduction. Nice. That's good. Yeah, if I'm not mistaken, all my characters are red. So that's great. And there we go. Nice. You see? Like, just going down 10 steps was more than enough. Yeah. Phantasma is a very competent character. We have evaluated her already, and she's really, really good. But if she tries to do something that she's not proficient at, she's going to be lacking. Like, she's really proficient at melting normal enemies without critical resistance on green. She's very good at tanking on red if you have supporters that split both damage and damage reduction. And she is very good for slow. But the caveat on blue is that you need HP recovery. You need it. Like, I used to use Noah, but my Noah is just is level 2. Like, I need to use some nano machines on her, but that's rough, you know? Like, getting enough nano machines when there's obviously better options to spend those. So yeah, I mean, I wouldn't recommend anyone to use a slow strategy on challenging content with multiple enemies on solo runs. This is fine because there are multiple characters and they can cover for each other's weaknesses, and that's why I put Misaki here. But if you try to use this on tower, especially on levels where there are multiple enemies, it's gonna be very difficult. Like, there's better builds, and even if you want to go blue, you shouldn't go with the super slow. You should use Impaling Terror, yes, but only because it deals a tremendous amount of damage. But you should also use probably Succubus Whisper and Phantasmal Mirror to change positions. So yeah, well, that's about it for today. I hope you find this useful, and I'll be seeing you next time. Bye!